Good afternoon, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. This is going to be a 5-minute fix video where we're going to change out the low beam headlight bulb in my wife's 2016 Ford Transit Connect. Without further ado, let's get started. Firstly, I'd like to apologize for the noise. I've got a generator going for some other project, and it needs to keep running. So my apologies, I can't do much about it at this time. But the 2016 Transit Connect is smart enough to tell you when you've got a primary bulb burnt out in your headlight system, because that's a safety problem. So my wife got a notice that one of her low beams was burnt out, and I checked, and sure enough, the driver low beam is burned out. Now your low beam is this one here in the metal collar. So it's the one that's set further back. Your high beam is the one that's further up front. So, yeah, let's see here. Actually, yeah, just verifying it's a single filament. I haven't actually checked the high beams on this thing in a while, but anyway. To do this replacement is pretty straightforward. If you take a look, there is a rubber cap that is over the back of the bulb housing. We need to remove that cap and then get access to the bulb. So that's what we're going to do next. With the cap off, this is what you're going to see. So you see that's a bulb socket. That is the socket for your low beam. And it's going to be twist locked into place. So you're going to rotate this to the, see here, it should be counterclockwise, so to the left, and it'll pop out. Then you can pull it back, and once we do that, we can get to the bulb. Alright, here we are, and it turns out I turned it clockwise to get it out of its socket. So not counterclockwise, clockwise. And I will correct that in description. So one note before you go to pull the bulb: if it burned out recently, or if it's still getting power but just not lighting up, the bulb is going to get hot enough to burn. And of course I forgot this, so I now have a nice burn on my thumb. So grab it with a paper towel, let it cool down, whatever you got to do. Avoid burning yourself, alright? Learn from my mistakes. The way that this headlight is packaged is you don't pull the bulb out of that socket there. It's all one piece, so we need to remove this connector here. So you're going to lift up on this tab and then just kind of pull it out. Remove that connector, and then we can go ahead and swap the new bulbs in. So before we really get started, wanted to point out these are H11 bulbs. And there's going to be a ton of choices out there. I went with basic because basic is OEM spec, and you're going to see ultra super hyper white duper awesome brightness lights. And here's the deal, folks, this van uses projector lights, so they already throw pretty decently, but every time you buy a bulb that burns more intensely, which is what is required with halogens to give you that brighter light, two things happen. One, your bulb will have a shorter service life because it's having to produce more heat as a byproduct to get that light. Number two, you are going to, over time, weaken the plastic in your headlight housing because it is now being exposed to more heat than it was designed for. So, I know there's a siren song to go purchase the biggest, baddest, brightest light bulbs you can. Don't do it. Get the basics. If you can get a basic long life, that's even better because they last longer. But keep the color and intensity the same as the OEM spec, or you will have problems down the road. This is what we look like when we're removed. So at this point, let's go grab those H11 and put it in. One thing to keep in mind is these are halogen projector bulbs. They get very hot. So don't leave any oil on the glass of the bulb. That will create an even hotter spot, and they'll bust and they'll fail prematurely, which means Don't touch them with your fingers because the oil from your fingers will transfer to the glass of the bulb. If you need to grab it by the bulb, use a paper towel or something else to keep your finger oil away from the glass. Let's get these plugged in. When you go to plug them in, you just push the click, and then we reinsert, put it back in, tighten it back up. If you're struggling a little bit on alignment, look through the front of the headlight assembly so you can see where to stick it in, and then you can see to make sure you've rotated it enough that the bulb itself will lock and not come back out. And success. We now have a good bulb and we're lighting back up. So I like doing my bulbs in pairs. I'm going to go ahead and replace the passenger side, which was still running, still functioning, but it should be towards the end of its life. But essentially that's going to be it for this video, because the process over here is the same as the process over there. The one last thing to remember is you have to replace this rubber dust and weather cap so that junk doesn't get in your headlight and then prematurely make something fail. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this 5-minute fix where we switched out the low beam bulbs in my wife's 2016 Ford Transit Connect. So if this video was helpful to you, please like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the fun YouTube stuff. Please also leave comments. I like to read them, I like to reply to them, and I like to learn from them. Also, as I pointed out in this video, I make the mistakes so you guys don't have to. I'll see you guys next time.